Okay, we're doing this. It's 2025. Beautiful book besties, welcome back to my channel. My name is Liv if you are new here, and today we're gonna be having a fun little chatty kind of video just talking about all things 2025. This is like my first official video filming in 2025. There is something to say about just the year 2025 in general. I feel like the year 2024, when you see that number, it's kind of like fun, it's quirky, it's creative. I don't know how to describe it, but when you see 2025, it just feels so futuristic. That's the only way I can describe this year. It does not feel like real life at all, but I feel like I remember being younger, reading books where people were talking about the year 2025, and yet here we are. So this video is just gonna be like a catch-up kind of chatty mini vlog. This is one of my goals for the new year. I'm doing shorter form content so that way I can bring you guys more videos, but they're just going to be shorter. So I will explain that a little bit more in like my goals segment of this video. But I was trying to figure out a video that I wanted to do to kind of come back to YouTube or get myself back into the swing of filming, and what better way to do that than to chat with you guys about my goals for the year. I love when people do the reaction videos of reacting to like their previous year's goal video, but I've never done one of these. So I think in 2026 it's also going to be super fun to go back and kind of see my mindset and where I was at the beginning of this year. So that is another reason why I want to make this video, but also to catch up with you guys. But life has been actually pretty crazy. I started out the year on vacation in Florida. I got to swim with manatees, which was like a bucket list for me. I got to spend so much quality time with my family that I never get to see. Taking a road trip was just such a great start to my year. And then I came back and I have had family in town. I have family in town again this weekend. It's also my birthday month, so I just feel like January is already off to a great start. I've already read some amazing 4 or 5 star books, which I will share with you in my wrap up, because yes, we are doing wrap ups again this year, or attempting to every single month. But to kick us off with this video, I recently watched Kara. I don't know if you guys follow Kara from Kara's Bookshelf, but she had a video similar to this, but at the very beginning, I love what she did. And that is, she took her phone and she went through every single month of the year and just jotted down a reflection from the previous year. So I personally want to reflect on everything that last year brought me, whether it was the good or the bad. So before we get into all the 2025 goals, I thought you guys could do this as well with me if you wanted to. I'm just gonna take a sheet of paper and just jot down all of the things that were in 2024. I might put it in my planner so I can look back on it at any point. Go ahead and make yourself a hot beverage, cozy beverage, get comfortable, and let's just go ahead and reflect on 2024 together. talk about 2024 reflections. I'm not going to share anything super specific with you because a lot of this is kind of personal, but there is some highlights that I did want to mention. But what I did notice as I was going through my phone, there are so many more highlights than lowlights, and I feel like I just have so much to be thankful for. I feel like the worst thing that happened last year was Hurricane Helene, and also I got COVID, so those were definitely some low times in my life that I feel like lasted for longer than just a couple days. Those were definitely trying times that were very unexpected, but we got through them. We pulled through, and it ended up being an amazing 2024 regardless. I got to do a 30th birthday Bookish photo shoot with one of my friends, Christy. I'm obsessed with those pictures. I still use them on my channel. That was just so much fun. I did like a smash cake, we had a bunch of books, and I just love those photos. That was so much fun. Two of my best friends had babies, which is a huge deal in my life because I love them like my own children. We also had a Taylor Swift album, Tortured Poets Department. We can't forget about that. I got to meet one of my favorite musical artists, which was such a huge surprise. I was not expecting to be able to do that. I definitely want to go to more concerts in the new year. As far as bookish things that happened last year, I got to create my own collection of book sleeves with my best friend Rachel, which was a huge highlight of my entire year. I also read Twilight for the first time. I read Hobbit for the first time. I also reread Hunger Games for the first time. We also got a new Sarah J. Maas book, and I also got to meet Abby Jimenez and Catherine Senner, which are two of my all-time favorite authors now. I also got to go to Y'all Fest, which I had not been to for 5 years in Charleston. I got to meet Rebecca Ross, Isabella Banya, Sabaa Tahir. That was such a huge highlight of like the bookish part of things, and that was a Y'all Fest I will never forget. It was a really great year. Those are just a couple quick things that I wanted to share that I really enjoyed, but I highly encourage you to do this because even though I only took like 10 minutes to write this stuff out, it's totally worth it to reflect and just be able to appreciate all the things that happened. Now we're going to dive into more of the lengthy chatty part of this video. We're going to start off with talking about my reading goals, my YouTube goals, and then also my life goals. In case you're interested in what I'm using, I am going to do a quick flip through of my reading journal and also my planner, and then we're going to end off this video with a 2025 vision board. Let's go ahead and start off talking about bookish goals. My first goal is my number goal. You guys are probably wondering how many books I read last year, which was 100, and how many books I'm reading this year, which is actually going to be 50. I thought about setting my reading goal to 1 because I personally do not care how many books I read in a year. I have no idea how I hit 100 books. This year we're focusing on quality over quantity. We are focusing on just slowing down and reading the genres I love. I've been in the book community for 8 years now, and I feel like I really honed in and I know what I love, which leads me into my next goal, and that is I'm going to stick to the genres I know, which is fantasy and also mystery thrillers. So that's probably what you're gonna see mainly on this channel for like the end of time, which also leads me into my next goal. I have 2 series that I really want to read this year. Yes, I'm counting them as a goal because I must read these before I die, specifically the Throne of Glass series. I have been trying to read that series for so long, and I don't know why I keep putting it off. Probably because I know I'm gonna love it. And I'm also doing an Ember in the Ashes read along with my patrons, so that is another series that I really want to dive into. So overall, I'd really love to read more fantasy series in general. My next goal is to use my Kindle more. I really fell in love with using my Kindle near the end of the year, and I want to keep that going. The ebooks are so cheap. I literally just did a massive unhaul of about 150 books again. I recently had to buy a whole nother shelf for overflow books that can't fit here in my office, so I just don't want to pile up a ton of other backlisted books. I'm being extremely picky with what I purchase, and my Kindle is going to help me do that. This next goal kind of goes hand in hand together, but that is to write reviews. I would love to at least write 1 sentence or something, but sometimes I don't have a lot to say about a book. I'm just like, yeah, I love that book, or oh, that book was really crappy. I have a hard time articulating sometimes how I feel about books, but I really want to get better at doing that, and that's where my reading journal is also going to come into play. But also, I want to not pay attention to other people's reviews. I specifically this year, for whatever reason, I've almost picked up so many books, but then I was like, oh yeah, this booktuber said that, it's probably not good, but that doesn't mean I'm not gonna like it. So I just want to kind of stay in my own lane, keep my blinders on, and just pick up books that sound interesting to me without any of these preconceived type of opinions. My next goal is to buy books intentionally, not to buy books impulsively, and not to be influenced by other people to buy books. I'm also a part of FairyLoot and Owlcrate, and those subscriptions in and of themselves can get kind of pricey. So after those two purchases or those books, I do just want to evaluate and see if it is something that I'm really interested in that month. At the end of the year at tax season, because I'm a content creator, I see the dollar amount that I've spent on books and it's kind of astounding. There's a lot I could say about consumerism and things about books, but I just don't want to necessarily be a part of that. So I really just want to hone in on books I know I'm gonna love. I do want to save up to buy a new camera this year as well. So that is another goal of mine, another reason why I'm buying more intentionally. We're not going on a book buying ban, because as soon as someone tells me I can't do something, it just makes me want to do it even more. A couple of my friends and I are actually trying to keep each other accountable. We're like checking in with each other before we purchase a book. It's a really great way to keep each other accountable, not to go overboard with the book buying, because it is so easy to do. I have been on booktube or YouTube for 6 years now, and after a while YouTube kind of gets stale. You kind of find your rhythm of what you like to do. I like to do TBRs, I like to do book hauls, I like to do all the basic booktube content, but that for me is getting kind of stale. I want to have fun and kind of venture out and do different types of styles of videos. The part of me that wants to have fun with YouTube is also going to have to let go of my perfectionism, and that is leading into my next goal, which is to do shorter form content but more videos. So essentially I'm not going to be doing these big giant like aesthetically pleasing a bunch of b-roll type of videos anymore. I'm known for like this cozy content creator that reads just like a huge variety of different books. So that is to say I'm not going to do any more b-roll or any type of like aesthetic content on my channel. I'm basically planning to do like big seasonal aesthetic videos. The rest of them are just going to be fun short little reading challenge vlogs, which is my next goal. We are going to do a lot of reading challenge videos, but we're just going to get back to the roots of what we're doing and talking about on my channel, and that is books. I get from you guys all the time that you want to see more reading vlogs and you just want to see more reading wrap-ups. So those are both things that I am going to focus on this year, and I'm really excited about it. It's going to be really hard for me because I tend to have this mindset of every video I put out has to be better than the last one. Like I'm always trying to one-up myself. Bye-bye perfectionism, and hello to just reading and having fun. Two more things that are probably no-brainers for some people, but for me, I have to actively or consciously think about it. And the first one is to watch more YouTube. I sometimes watch my friends or some of my favorites here and there, but at the end of the day, when I'm done creating, I don't have the time to watch YouTube. It's just gonna inspire me to film differently, maybe read differently, or not necessarily copy other people. If I'm constantly giving out, but I'm not consuming anything, my cup is gonna be dry. Like my creative energy is just not gonna exist. And the last YouTube oriented goal is for me to allow myself to skip uploads. I don't know if you guys have noticed, but I've skipped a couple weeks here and there near the end of the year, and a couple years ago I would have never thought to do that. I would have tried so hard as I could, stayed up late, lost sleep, didn't eat, whatever, just to get a video out every single week, and I'm not doing that anymore. I'm gonna allow myself to let go of the algorithm and not worry about rushing and putting out something I'm not proud of every single week. Okay, last but not least, we're going to talk about some general or life goals that I have for myself. They're all pretty straightforward, but what I loved last year is last year was the first time I'd ever chosen a word for myself, and that was cultivate. And I feel like I really achieved that goal of cultivating my Patreon, my relationships with my friends and my husband, my spiritual life, and this year I decided my word is going to be dedication. I feel like dedication is a really good reminder reminder for me because I tend to start things and then stop things. I love that word dedication, and it's probably going to go in my vision board, so I would encourage you to choose a word for yourself too, because it was just really inspiring for me to do that last year. Another goal of mine is more so a reminder. I will never forget when I watched Gavin's video last year. He was talking about things on his YouTube had to change, and that is essentially like living his life outside of online. And for me, I work from home full time, okay? I am home by myself or with my husband. I think it's easy to put value in numbers and online relationships and just things that don't matter, and I want to make sure I'm getting out and living my life. It sounds so simple, but it's also so easy to get caught up in the online world and forget that other people or other relationships or just life outside exists. So one way which I'm going to be doing this is my husband and I are kind of like on this health kick journey. I don't know what way to put it because I don't like to say weight loss, but we both have stationary jobs and we realize how little we move our bodies and sometimes don't always eat the best. So we are kind of on this journey to keep each other accountable to exercise. We want to hike. We have the mountains right near us. I'm in the Carolinas, so there's so many opportunities to get outside. Near the end of last year, I found out something health-wise that I'm not going to be super specific about, but it wasn't the best news for me. No, it's not life-threatening, but it could happen again. It's painful, and this is also kind of tying in with exercising and eating well. So in order to prevent something from getting worse or something to happen again, I just really want to dedicate the time and energy I need to take care of myself before YouTube. My last goal is I want to read through the Bible in a year. One of my local friends here invited me to read with another group of ladies a year in the Bible, and she actually hosts a book club at her house as well, which is another goal of mine, is to start attending an in-person book club. I went once last year and it was so much fun, so I do want to be more intentional about going to that. Some of those ladies are also part of this year in the Bible, which is what we're doing. This is very simple but also a great resource if you are wanting to read through the Bible as well. This is from Alabaster Co. You basically just have like a little bit of a devotional, but you can check off each day when you read it. You kind of have a recap or a synopsis. You have a new theme every week. There's a couple questions that you can reflect on during the week. There really is not a whole lot of fluff with this, which I like because sometimes I can get caught up in the commentary, but my goal is just to read through the whole Bible. And my mom gifted me this beautiful illuminated edition of the Bible last year, I believe. It's an ESV and it's absolutely stunning. There's so many amazing, beautiful illustrations in this, and it just makes it really fun to read, especially for someone that's really visual like I am. And then I also thought I would briefly mention the two Christian nonfiction books that I'm starting to kick off my year. The first one is The Common Rule, which is actually a book I found out through work. Last year I read The Ruthless Elimination of Hurry, and if you heard me talk about that book, it's one of the most impactful books I've ever read. I still even think about it to this day. And this book is kind of like the child of Ruthless Elimination. I am 2/3 of the way through it already. It's about time management and scheduling and just relationships with people, and it's super good already. And the other one I want to start going through is 40 Days to a Joy-Filled Life. If you want to experience abundant joy, you need to change your mental diet. Simply put, you have to think this, not that, and with God's help you can. I don't know what the 4-8 principle is yet, but I'm excited to find out. So those are just some biblical or personal spiritual resources that I'm using going into the new year. But now we're going to go ahead and dive into what I'm using as a reading journal. And I'm using this reading journal in a very different way than I've ever used a reading journal before, and I think I'm actually going to be able to keep up with it. And then for my personal planner, I decided to use Happy Planner. Happy Planner is actually very popular, but I've never used it before. So I'm going to be doing a quick flip through of this as well. I know most of you have probably already chosen your reading journal and your planner for the year, but I personally like to see what other people use. So in case you're interested, we're going to go ahead and do that now. Alright friends, here is my reading journal. It is from the Quirky Cup Collective, which I am 1000% obsessed with. I love how this looks like an actual real book. And she also sells journals and washi tape, and she even sells pens to match. And this is just the cherry on top for me. I'm just going to quickly run through this, mainly because you can look at it in the description description below, and I believe she does a flip through on her website, so this is just a quick overview of how I'm using it. But the front has a table of contents for everything, and then she kind of has a welcome page which just explains how to use all of the different pages. One of my favorite parts is there are so many of these cute little graphics that you can color in yourself, and then you have a bookshelf that you can color in, fill out, and all of that. But what I really love about this is she gives you an extra bookshelf spread. I feel like a lot of reading journals don't quite fit all the books that I read, so I love that this is an option. Then we have reading goals and to-do list, which honestly I will probably just write out some of my goals that I talked about in this video. Of course, we have a couple spreads for some upcoming releases, which I already filled out, and let me tell you, there are so many new releases, and this is just my priority list. This isn't even every single one that I'm interested in. We have quite a lot of amazing books coming out this year. And then we have the reading tracker, which personally I will not be using, mainly because I just don't have the time to fill this out every single day. But you're supposed to be able to use this journal for 3 years, which I'm gonna fill this up way faster than that, but there is room for 3. And then you have the reading challenges spreads, which I think I'm just gonna use as readathons. I might go ahead and like paste in the graphics or something in here. And then we have the to be read, which is just a long running list. I thought about using these one a month, but there's not quite that many. I think there's maybe 6. And then we have the quick reviews, which is really convenient to find a specific book that you reviewed. So you have the title, you have the author, the page number it's on, the genre, the format, the start and end date, the rating, and then if you reviewed it online yet, which will also be super helpful to keep me on track because like I said, I'm trying to review every single book that I read this year. And then we have reviews and reflections, which is where I am mainly going to be using this journal. And do not look too closely at these upcoming pages because there is going to be spoilers that I've already written out. But this is how I'm going to use the spread for each one. There's just some fun questions. I'm going to paste the cover up here. You can even track the rating for characters, story and plot, writing style, and cover design. There is a spoiler right here in the corner, which I'm trying to prevent you from seeing. Favorite quotes, some fun parts, just some fun questions that you can answer. But the main thing that I'm going to be using this for is I created a mood board on Pinterest for each book that I'm reading, and I've printed out the pictures and then I've pasted them on this one page. Page actually looks like this with a final review and a bunch of lines, but I don't need 6 spreads for each book. So I just decided to create a collage for each book that I'm reading because I'm such a visual person, and it adds an element of just creativity as you read. So this one here is for Sea of Unspoken Things by Adrienne Young. As I was reading, I would go through and add pictures to the board and then kind of just pick the best ones that represented the story. I believe you have 60 of these spreads for the individual book reviews, but near the end you have the reading statistics. You have all sorts of questions in here, but honestly I love the way this is formatted. You have like most read author, most read genres, the diversity, your total ratings for each. You could use this for the entire year, but I might do it halfway through and then by the end of the year. And then you have the book awards, which again is just more questions about your favorite books. And then you have the least favorite books, which is kind of fun. And then you also have favorite quotes, which is just a bunch of line pages. And you have library card, so you can track your library when you check out books, or maybe even books that people borrow from you. And then you have book recommendations. The days of deep diving through your phone notes is over, so I could maybe jot down some books that maybe some booktubers recommend. And then you just have a bunch of blank space at the end, which for me, I wrote down all of the books that I currently have on my Kindle, whether they're ARCs or books that I've had forever on my Kindle. This is the journal I'm using. Very simple, very straightforward. It's not anything extremely creative, but I think it's definitely doable to keep up with. And then we have my 2025 Happy Planner, which is for all my life stuff, which is going to be kind of difficult to fit in this camera view, so I will just briefly go through it. I'm completely blanking on what the name of this one is. I think it was an online only if I'm not mistaken, but it has beautiful copper foiling and I'm not sure if you can see that or not. I basically already took apart all of my sticker packets and I stored them in the front using this, which are just like these snap-in sticker sheet protectors. But this is one of the matching sticker sheets that comes with it, and you guys, this is so beautiful. Like, this is exactly my style. I'm such a matchy person and this made my life so easy. I'm very excited to start using this even more. And then I also got these extra inserts, which I thought were super nice, especially for weekends when I just want to jot down like a to-do list. The other side says plan all the things, and there's some dot grid paper, but it's super cool because you can pull this out and it's more grid paper. I am just going to insert these as needed. We have the title page, and then we have a 2025 and then 2026 look. I don't know what I'm going to use this for yet. Maybe holidays or birthdays. And I'm not going to show every single one of these monthly like title pages, but they are so beautiful. I also just love the quotes on these as well. It's just so botanical and beautiful. This side just has priorities, important, and then take note. So I'm just going to write down all the books that I finish each month just to kind of keep myself on track in some way or another. But then you have the overall full calendar spread, which as you can see I already decorated with washi tape and stickers. This is just such a simple way for me to be able to color code everything. I use one color for YouTube, one color for life stuff, and then another color for work as well. And this is an example of how I will use each weekly spread, which I love. As you can see, I'm a huge list maker. I make a list almost every single day, but this is basically what every single month looks like. Very simple, tons of room for stickers, tons of room just to be creative with however you want. The back of this planner had zero extra space for planning or lists or anything of the sort, so I actually bought a packet of these lined notes papers. I love that Happy Planner just has so many ways for you to be creative, but also create it unique to yourself and how you want to use it. As a side note, I personally only use Tombos. I am obsessed with Tombos. I know they're kind of pricey, but they last forever and their colors are so perfect. So this is my journal and my planner for the year. I could not be more obsessed. I always have to pick something that looks aesthetically pleasing to me, so that way I'm more motivated to actually use it. I am excited to see how big this journal is going to get with all of the mood boards I create. vision board, which I will show here briefly. It is nothing fancy, but I am going to keep this on my wall near my desk so I can see it every day, especially with the word dedication. This is the first time I've done a visual board, which was really fun. And like I said, Canva and even Pinterest, I think, has templates that you can create and make them your own. Things like hiking and getting back into cozy gaming. I really want to finish the big diamond painting that I've been working on for ages because I want to put it up here in my office. Everything that I talked about in my life goals is here on my visual board. I am definitely going to be doing this every year now. Well, I hope you guys found this video insightful or fun or entertaining to watch. Maybe you found some inspiration to do your own vision board or maybe set your own goals. Maybe you've never been a goal setter before, but being the type 1 that I am, I love a good list. I am so incredibly thankful for each and every one of you for being here for another year. And if you're new, I'm so happy that you're here starting fresh in a new year with me. Before you leave this video, if you want to, please leave me your book number goal you want to read this year. Are you one of those people that's setting your Goodreads goal at 1, or do you have big intentions or motivation to read 100 books? But thank you for stopping by and watching this video. I love you guys so much, and I will see you in my next video.